Okay, we move on to our next spot. Bebsy is on the board. Seattle Seahawks at Indianapolis Colts, and this one is wild. First off, when will this total be too low? Is question number one. Now, I know we have a lot of Carson Wentz question marks, but when will this total be too low? It opened up at 52. It's now at 49.5. That's my first question. My second question, I will do a couple breakdowns before, but these are my main questions. When will it be too low? And also, at what point do you want to back the Colts? We've seen a 5-point move to the Seahawks. It is the biggest move of any game on week one. The Colts open up as minus 2.5-point favorites. They're now 2.5-point dogs. And from everything we've read, Wentz is good to go. Let's start with the Seahawks, 12-4. Pete Carroll in year 12. Shane Waldron, year 1. Shane Waldron with a lot of high expectations. And Kenny Norton in year 4 as a defensive coordinator. They bring in Gerald Everett, Dwayne Eskridge, 56th overall of Western Michigan. The guy can fly. Dwayne Eskridge can fly. Gabe Jackson comes in from the Raiders to appease Russell Wilson. We know that he is being very upset, and we'll get into that in a second. In the offseason, so Gabe Jackson comes in. Akilo Witherspoon comes in from the Niners, a cornerback that Bebsy knows very well.
He's gone.
Is he, say what?
He was traded to the Steelers 2 days ago.
Okay, there we go. Thank you. Traded to the Steelers. Let me put that here. Thank you. All right, so key losses. I guess he's not a key loss if they need to get rid of him. Carlos Hyde is gone. KJ Wright, Shaquille Griffin, and Jaron Reed all gone. Look, there was a lot of heat thrown at Russell Wilson for how bad the second half was. First half, he looked spectacular. And if you look at the year in total, it was the first year since Galloway and Blades in 95 that they had 2,000-yard receivers in Lockett and Metcalf. Over the first 8 games, he was spectacular. Over the last 8 games, he was poor. First 8 games, 28 touchdowns, 8 picks, 5 300-yard games. Last 8 games, 0 300-yard games. Who do you blame there? Carroll for changing the game plan, or Russell from not executing? I mean, that's he's been sacked, and I mentioned this with Babano, 394 times. He's on pace to be the most sacked quarterback in NFL history. They bring in Gabe Jackson, but he was hoping for Dwayne Brown to get the extension. They did not give Dwayne Brown the extension. Their rushing attack.
I think they got him now. I think they announced today that the deal is being done and he will play.
Did they?
Yeah.
That is a big, big deal. That is a big deal. Thank you for letting us. That's huge. Then Penny, 21 months removed from the ACL injury. They get rid of Hyde. Clearly, Chris Carson and Rashard Penny are ready to roll. Defensively, the Seahawks were, in the beginning of the year, possibly the worst we'd ever seen, and they improved as the season went on. Shaquille Griffin gone. DJ Reed is expected to replace him. KJ Wright, first-round pick Jordan Brooks expected to replace him. I do not know how they have high expectations for this pass rush. I think it's impossible to have it with Carlos Dunlap and then Jamal Adams coming in. I mean, you're expecting too much out of Jamal Adams. This pass rush is a problem, but they are now protecting Wilson. Here we go. Bebsy, Seattle Seahawks expectations, and should they be favorites in Indianapolis week 1?
I mean, a lot of that, them being favorites, it ties into the quarterback situation in Indy, which we'll get to. But look, I said this last year. I'll say pretty much the same thing against the Seahawks this year. Is they are a team that's in decline, but if you've been betting against them for the last few years, thinking that, you probably have lost a lot of money because they just keep winning. Now, if you look at them section by section, look, they still have loads of talent. They still have Russell Wilson, who, yes, he declined second half of the year last year. Was he playing hurt? Was he frustrated? Who knows? But, yeah, he did not play well down the stretch last year where the defense stepped it up. But they did lose they lost Jaron Reed, and they also lost you just mentioned him. Somebody else they just lost on D, KJ Wright, who had a phenomenal season last year. So look, they're a little bit weaker on defense. They didn't have enough draft picks. They only had 3 draft picks this year, and they still struggled to address the biggest issue on their team, which is getting Russell Wilson some time to throw to those receivers. So I don't have a ton of faith in Seattle. I think this is probably the year where they're going to be a team that's pushing for the playoffs. I don't know if they're still a playoff team, especially with how difficult that NFC West is going to be. But I certainly wouldn't bet against them, especially not early, because listen, if you've done it, you've lost a lot of money. Their biggest problem is they have to stop Jonathan Taylor, and I think JT is going to be running hard in week 1.
I think the Colts. I think there's been a ton of movement towards the Seahawks because of the questions on Wentz, and now I'm not sure if I want the Colts at +2.5 or the Colts at +125 on the money line. Frank Reich in year 4. You have Marcus Brady coming in year 1, offensive coordinator. Matt Eberflus, defense coordinator year 3. Wentz. They bring in Eric Fisher at left tackle, hoping he can return from the Achilles injury. They got Kwity Paye, first round, number 21 overall out of Michigan. Kylan Granson, 4th round at a number 127 SMU tight end. They lose Phillip Rivers. Good, take care of those kids. Anthony Costanzo, offensive tackle, retired. I mean, that's 10 seasons of Costanzo protecting the quarterback. Trey Burton, Jacoby Brissett, gone. Carson Wentz, MVP candidate to a 28.4% bad pass percentage, 29.5% completion percentage under pressure. Let's start with Carson Wentz. What are your expectations of him, Bebnek?
I don't think he's going to be as brutal as he has been. He was abysmal last year, but I think everything was going against him in Philly. You know, he, like you said, he's got that MVP caliber season. He gets injured. They make a statue for his backup to end that season. And then, they have a struggle to who they're going to keep. They keep him, but then they draft a rookie to replace him. Nothing was going well for Carson Wentz. I do feel kind of bad for the guy. I hope that he has a resurgent career in Indy, but it didn't start well. You know, he has a broken foot that he apparently broke in high school. Well, how did it go this long before somebody caught it and addressed it? But my expectations for Carson Wentz is that he plays fine. He has some talent. He has a coach who understands his limitations. And so I think he'll be a fine player. But when it comes down to these uncertain bets early in the season, I really look back at what quarterback I believe in the most if you're forcing me to make a pick. And I believe Russell Wilson over Carson Wentz in this game. So not betting it. If you forced me to, I wouldn't bet against Russell. But with this much line movement, Jimmy, I agree with you. There is value in Indy here.
I'm going to move on him. Here with the action right now. You have, with a little over 12,000 tickets, you have 25% of the tickets on Indy and 44% of the cash. So, yeah, look, Russell Wilson's magic. But would you agree, if you take the quarterbacks out of it, that the Colts have a better football team? Comfortably.
Well, hands down. And I also think they have their drafting record is better. They have a much more streamlined idea in front office. I think the Seahawks are pulling in different directions right now. And I said this last year and came true a few times. I think the biggest problem with the Seahawks right now is their head coach. I don't think Pete Carroll should be coaching anymore. I think he's fallen off. And I think he is now a problem, not an asset for the Seahawks.
I like this spot, and I'll take the 2.5 points because, I know it's not that magic figure at 3, but and I don't want to test Russell Wilson, but I think this is a better team with the Colts. Look, T.Y. Hilton, I don't have I don't need T.Y. Hilton. I think Michael Pittman is going to be a monster here. We've seen what Nyheim Hines can do as a receiver out of the backfield, and Jonathan Taylor, as you said, is going to be excellent. And then Jack Doyle from the tight end spot is going to be strong. Marlon Mack, we don't know if he's going to be at full strength at the start of the year. If he is, he'll help. They sign Eric Fisher. We know that Quentin Nelson has a foot injury, and look, it hurts. It hurts. But Braden Smith signs a 4-year, $72.4 million extension, 42 of which is guaranteed. They lose Danico Autry and Justin Houston, 15.5 sacks, but 21st overall, number 1 pick in pay. They try to fix that. And then DeForest Buckner was everything that, we expect him to be. Spectacular. Darius Leonard is now the highest paid inside linebacker in NFL history. And I know that sort of hurts. I mean, you'd rather pay these guys less and have money for the other spots on the field. Like, I know that Darius Leonard in the second year as a second-round pick is more valuable than he is, when he's making $20 million a year. You got Okereke replacing Anthony Walker. Kenny Moore as a nickel corner is money. Safety Julian Blackman is also money. So, Boogeyman, thank you for joining us, my man. Noli knows leaning towards the under, and it's a low total. The market's moved heavy on this game. I am going to be moving on the Colts plus 2.5 at home as soon as this show is over. Bebsy, any official plays for you in the spot?
No, I like where you're going here, but I can't do it. I can't bet against the Seahawks early.